Most of us are living a script we didn't write, chasing 5 specific lies we've mistaken for truth. We call it being responsible or being successful, but at the end of life, the perspective shifts. No one boasts about their busy schedule when their time is running out. Instead, they look back at the masks they wore and the words they left unspoken. If you feel like you're waiting for your life to begin, you need to hear what remains when there's no longer a reason to pretend. The most common words spoken at the end are not, "I wish I had more." They are, "I wish I hadn't." There was once a place people called the quiet room. It wasn't a real room. It was simply where people ended up when there was nothing left to prove, and I listened. The library of lost moments. The man who lived for everyone else. There was a man everyone loved in his village. He never said no. If a roof needed fixing, he came. If help was needed, he arrived first. For 60 years, he was known as a good man. On his final night, his voice was barely a whisper. He stared at his hands and said, "I spent my whole life wearing a mask that fit everyone but me." He wasn't selfish. He was tired. He had lived as a supporting character. In his own story, he silenced his own music to keep peace for people who had already forgotten his name. Before he closed his eyes, he said, "Don't just be good, be real." The jar of tomorrow, the saddest regret, belongs to those who lived in the waiting room, waiting for the kids to grow up, waiting for the mortgage to end, waiting for the weekend, waiting for retirement. They believed happiness was a reward at the finish line, but happiness isn't a trophy. It's the water you drink while you're running. A woman once told me, "I wish I had let myself be happy. I thought I needed permission." She watched sunlight spill across the floor and smiled. "I didn't realize the sun shines on weeds and flowers the same way. You just have to stand in it." The unsent letter. There is a weight no one sees. The weight of unspoken words. I've sat with many who carried heavy silence in their chests. "I love you," saved for later. Apologies folded away for someday. They believed silence was protection, strength, safety. But in the end, that shield becomes a wall. One man spoke of a friend he hadn't spoken to in 20 years. "I thought I had time to be brave," he said. But time is the one thing you can't negotiate with. The empty chair. Then there was a woman who built an empire. First in the office, last to leave. She told her children, "I'm doing this for you." She told herself, "I'll rest when I arrive." But when she arrived, the mountain was cold. She didn't remember the deals. She didn't remember the victories. She remembered the slow morning she missed, the sound of her daughter's laughter, before it changed with age. She realized life doesn't wait for your schedule. It happens in the spaces between the work. She said quietly, "Work is a tool, but we treated it like a god. And gods don't hug you back when the room gets dark." The choice. If you are listening to this, your story is not finished. The ink is still wet. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need to escape to a mountain. You only need to notice. Speak the honest word today. Sit quietly without guilt. Call the friend you drifted from. Choose yourself a little more gently, because one day you won't be asking for more time. You'll only be looking back at how you used it. Be present while you still can. You don't need a new life, just a more honest one. Tell me in the comments, sometimes naming the regret is the first step to changing it.